Hey guys, welcome to my channel Hairliciously. Now, in a few days, it's going to be my 7th month since I've had my FU hair transplant. And so, if you guys can see, this is how the hair is looking as soon as I wake up. The hair is long enough to the point where I can just pretty much just put it back without any forms of gel or anything like that to hold it back. I think it's looking pretty good. And this is actually under direct sunlight. So it looks pretty good overall. Today in this video, I'm actually going to be talking about the topic of RU58841. It's also known as PSK3841 or HMR3841, but a lot of people know it by the name RU58841. And so this drug is actually a non-steroidal experimental anti-androgen that has been garnering a lot of attention over the past few years in the hair loss community, and it's because of its phenomenal response in hair growth. There's a lot of people you see on hair loss forums, there's even people on YouTube, and a bunch of articles that claim that this is the most effective thing when it comes to hair loss or preventing hair loss. But one thing before I get started is that RU58841 is not FDA approved, and it's only meant to be used for research. And it still doesn't stop thousands of people from using it to treat male pattern baldness. There's a lot of questions. They're asking, why isn't RU FDA approved for hair loss, and why aren't there more studies being done on this miracle drug? So let's go ahead and talk about some of the history of RU58841 before we dive into the effectiveness and efficacy of treating hair loss. So RU, I'm just going to call it RU from now on, was first studied in the 1990s by French scientists who were working for a company called Russell UCLAF Corporation. The initial studies were amazing. They were very successful in treating hair loss in animal models, and they didn't have any side effects. In 1995, called it HMR. And during this whole reconstructive period with the company, there's a lot of employees that are laid off and they got fired. And also there's a large number of research projects that Russell UCLAF had worked on which were simply abandoned, and one of them was also the RU58841. Now, after the merger, the rights to RU were acquired by a company called Prostrakin, and then they renamed the drug to PSK3841. Now, the company did limited research on the drug, which included a human trial that was never published. And all in all, the company appeared to have abandoned a future research and the development of RU. Now, there's some people that speculate that the market for the drug was modest, and therefore the company wasn't really interested in developing and marketing a drug that only had a modest potential market. And as stated earlier, the drug can be legally manufactured and sold as a research chemical. And since there's nobody that has patented the drug, there's no pharmaceutical company that would actually expend the funds to develop the drug and get it FDA approved. Profit margin simply isn't there. Now that we got the history of RU out of the way, let's go and talk about the efficacy. RU is an anti-androgenic compound, and it counteracts the effects of DHT and other androgens by inhibiting the local androgen receptors at the hair follicles. So it stops the androgens from binding to these receptors, and the hair is going to be unable to miniaturize, allowing the hair to continue its growth cycle into terminal hair. They claim that helps damaged hair follicles transition back to the normal anagen phase. And unlike finasteride, which inhibits 5-alpha reductase from androgen conversions, the androgen counts of testosterone and DHT in the blood are presumably not affected. And so from the research that I've done, just reading a lot of the hair loss forums, just reading a bunch of articles that people wrote, I've even seen some personal accounts of people that talk about their usage of RU on Reddit. There's a lot of people that seems to have a majority of benefits from taking it when it comes to hair loss. And so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the studies that were actually done. I'm going to be putting up the links in the description box for those who are interested in reading it. So the first one, there's some researchers that tested finasteride versus RU on bald monkeys, and they observed that an average of 88% increase in hair growth in the finasteride group, while RU showed a staggering 103% increase in hair growth. More importantly, RU didn't show any significant changes in DHT and testosterone levels. Now, we know that finasteride alters DHT levels in our bodies, and that's why there's a lot of people that end up having different types of side effects. So the researchers also did experiments with 5%, 3%, 1%, and 0.5% dosages of RU, and they applied it once per day and ultimately showed that the 5% RU showed a marked increase in density, thickness, and length of hair in as little as 3 months after treatment. And after 5 months of treatment, results showed a 2 to 3-fold increase in scalp follicles. So side effects, since there's no really long-term study on RU, most of them are going to be relatively unknown. Now, some of the reported side effects from users include headaches, dizziness, fatigue, erectile dysfunction, skin irritation, etc. Now, you can purchase these for experimental use or for research purposes online, but you want to make sure that you get the 99% pure grade, and it is pretty costly. It's about $55 to $65 per 5 grams. And there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube or on articles on how to make RU58841, and since I don't really have any experience using it, I pretty much did some research, and a lot of people simply would have to find the correct vehicle or carrier to dissolve the RU into a liquid infusion so that it can penetrate the scalp. Now, some people mix it with minoxidil, other people use it with propylene glycol and ethanol. But you guys can do your research and see which method works best. From what I've read, I think propylene glycol works the best when used in combination with RU. Some people do mix it with minoxidil, like I said. I think if you're trying to experiment, I think that would be the way to go. So as far as my opinion on the usage of RU58841, there's not a lot of studies done like there is with finasteride, and with finasteride models on studies done on animals, we know that it can cause different types of neurological and sexual dysfunction, also including in human beings. Although with finasteride, it's not a sure thing that it's going to cause neurological implications. The thing is, we do know that as far as finasteride, it alters testosterone from converting to DHT because it just wipes it away. I think up to 70% with finasteride and up to 90% with dutasteride. But when it comes to RU58841, what it does is it still allows the testosterone to convert into DHT, but it prevents the DHT from attaching into the hair androgen receptors. Therefore, it stops the miniaturization on the hair follicles. The thing that kind of gets to me is that there's no studies done on humans like there is with finasteride, and it's not FDA approved, although being FDA approved doesn't mean that it's a safe drug necessarily. But I do feel like RU58841 is an effective drug based on a lot of the self-testimony from people who are using it. I've been seeing a lot of articles on hair loss forums and on YouTube that claim that RU58841 does work. And so there's no doubt about it that it does work. I think I would try it out, although it's very expensive. I think it might be a better alternative to finasteride because from what I've read, it seems like there's less of a side effect when compared with finasteride, and it is much more effective than finasteride when the studies were done on animals. So I think I would give it a try. I don't think I'm going to try it anytime soon, but if I were to end up trying it, I'd probably just start using a small dosage on a certain area just to see if it actually works, because with any type of drug, it's not going to work for everybody, and with different people, you're going to have different side effects. So I think I would give it a go, but as far as using finasteride, you guys know that I don't use finasteride anymore, so this might be an alternative for me. I just really haven't had the time to really just do a full research and just that commitment to go out and buy it and try it out myself. But let me know what you guys think, if I should try it or not, and I might actually consider buying it. But yeah, that's my opinion on RU58841. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you guys like this video, show me some love by giving it a thumbs up. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to leave some comments below. And I'll talk to you guys next time. All right, take care.